you can still do something, but still do it unhealthy. Like I've seen people where it's like, yeah, I do intermittent fasting. And in their minds, they can eat anything within that window. And I've seen people who's like, oh, I'm so hungry, but I'm intermittent fasting, but I can't eat for another 3 hours. Good day, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of For Health and Happiness. We're here at Irie Studio. We're live on YouTube, and we just want to say thank you for joining the show. Quick little comment, little notification. We just passed 2,500 subscribers on YouTube. I'm extremely happy for that. Wow. You know, this channel's new. Like I really started it in November, really started pushing it in January. So I'm really glad how much it's grown. So I just want to say how much I appreciate all you guys, and I hope it continues to grow. Follow us live, watch us live on YouTube, join the conversation. If for some reason you don't catch us live, you can rewatch us. I would have this up by Saturdays normally, or you can watch us and listen to us where you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today is a special episode. We're taking a quick little break, finishing up our previous segment where we were talking about certain things that confused a lot of my female clients about their health and fitness journey. So I wanted to do is have an open Q&A where anyone can ask any questions. And to help me with that, I brought a very, very special guest. Now, before I introduce this guest, I want to make sure you know, I don't care who else comes on this podcast. This is going to be my favorite guest. Okay. This is no one else but the one and only Melissa Levy.
Thank you, Hafid.
How are you doing today?
I am great, and I'm really, really excited and happy that you invited me here.
I definitely, I'm always glad to be with you and do things with you. So for anyone that doesn't know you, can you please tell us just a little bit about yourself?
First of all, look at this space.
Isn't it a great space?
We have moved from our couch in the living room and stepped up in this beautiful studio.
And I'm so appreciative. Thank you again to Irie. Thank you for Russ.
Yeah, this is fancy.
This is big time.
We've made it.
We made it. A few more subscribers and I'm quitting training. I'm done.
I'm quitting my job. This is great. So I'm so excited. I feel like we've gone another level with this, and I'm proud of my little job as your question asker. Mm-hmm. And you wanted me to tell a little bit about myself?
A little about yourself.
Well, that question always throws me off because, I have so many different ways of answering it with the same answers because I'm the same person, but it always throws me off. So today I'm going to say that I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm the fiance to this great guy. I'm a pharmacist, and I've been a pharmacist for over 18 years. And I know your viewers are thinking right in this moment, there's no way she could have been a pharmacist for over 18 years because she doesn't look a day over 25.
25? You want to drop that number a little bit?
Maybe 21. And it's okay. If that's what you're thinking, thank you. I appreciate it. And I agree with you. But I have been a pharmacist for such a long time. I kind of landed in pharmacy just by happenstance. It's not something that I aspired to be, but it's a profession that I've absolutely grown to love. I have so much passion for it. It kind of stemmed, particularly diabetes care, because that's the field of pharmacy that I'm currently in. And that stemmed from having an aunt who had diabetes, and I could see firsthand the struggle that she was going through. And this is seeing the struggles from the perspective of a family member and not a healthcare provider. And it was really tough. It was really tough for my cousin. It was emotionally exhausting. It was financially challenging. It was physically, of course, for both my aunt and everyone involved. And it was such a tough time. And at the time, being a healthcare provider in the family, everybody kind of looked to me for answers, and I didn't know much. But I try to give them the answers as best as I could. But it got me really intrigued because, of course, this was the aunt I loved, and I really wanted to help. And I didn't know much, so I kind of tried to learn as much as I could. And the opportunity came up for me to get involved in this space. And immediately I went for it because, of course, I want to help. And it was to move to an island that I knew nothing of. The only thing I heard about Bermuda was the Bermuda Shorts or Bermuda Triangle. That's about it. So I grabbed the opportunity and came here, and it's been a game changer for me because I've learned so much. Unfortunately, my aunt didn't make it. Yeah, she kind of died before I learned and understood so much more. And, in hindsight, there was so many things that could have been done differently, but it really pushed me and inspired me to help the people that I know have the opportunities to make the changes for, where I can stand by and know that my input can change the trajectory of their medical journey. And that gives me such a rewarding feeling. And it has grown my passion tremendously. You know how I feel about diabetes care. So I've been doing this for maybe about 11 years. Absolutely love it. But outside of my job, I love watching a movie, cuddling up with my favorite person,
That'll be me.
sketching when I get a chance to, and just hanging with good people, have a small circle, which I absolutely love. And of course, doing my favorite job, which I'm doing right now, which is Hafid's question asker. It's a job that I take a lot of pride in, and I try to make sure that I represent the writers of these questions.
You do, and
to
you do
the
it
best
well.
of my ability.
Yes, you do.
And hopefully we do them well
Justice,
today.
yeah.
Justice, yeah. Because these are some really good questions.
I got great viewers.
I know.
So we'll get into the questions. Just so everyone knows, we're going to prioritize the questions coming from my PT, my personal training clients, because they pay me. With any time we have left, we'll go over to our social media. I put out a post every once in a while whenever I'm going to do an open, and I just ask them for questions. We gathered them up, and then we'll address them. If for some reason we run out of time and we can't get to them on our next open Q&A, we'll start with those questions just to make sure we're able to get them done. So with all that being said, what's our first question?
Let's get into it. So, of course, as you said, we're going to separate it with PT questions and your questions for your social media. So I'm going to read these questions just as they were written because I don't want to rephrase it and change the intention of the writer's questions because I want to do them proud. Okay?
Good.
So the first question is, eating and still hungry. I'm eating less but still hungry. What's your advice?
So I like this question. I think it gets down to the difference between eating right and eating healthy. Sometimes people think, well, okay, I want to be healthy. I want to try and eat right. So let me just eat less. Because they say if you eat less calories, you should just lose weight. But your body's more complex than that. You simply eating less, but you're not eating the right stuff can make you feel hungry. And then even if you might lose weight because you're starving yourself, it's like, how long can you keep that? What I always like to do with my lifestyle clients, a very important part of my program is controlling your hunger. And certain ways we control your hunger is just by stabilizing those blood sugars and giving your body what it needs when you're thinking of water, when you're thinking of even bulk from food, high in veg. So I wouldn't just say eat less. I would say try and focus on eating more of the right stuff. So eat certain foods that's going to stabilize your blood sugars. So you're thinking of your complex carbs. Just to keep it simple, complex carbs just means it breaks down slower in the body. You want to eat things like healthy fats, which helps stabilize the blood sugar. A lot of times when people eat is not from the desire of food. It's more so they've been playing around with their blood sugars or the addiction of calories in the brain. So if you can give your body certain things, if you can give your body those foods that can stabilize the blood sugar. If you can also not focus on thinking every food has to taste well. They've done several studies where they've given people an unlimited amount of food, but it was low palatable, which just means it wasn't the greatest tasting thing. Your brain would say, I'm full, I don't need any more real quick. The best example I like to give, we've eaten out, we've been stuffed, and then you see that dessert menu. And you see that favorite item.
A little bit more space to hold something else.
All of a sudden, your brain will say, no, I want that. I'll turn off certain hormones that make you feel full and satisfied just to get what you want. So understand there's always a mindset thing. Don't think every meal has to be the greatest tasting thing. I always say eat for function over feeling.
Yeah, that always annoys me.
But it's true.
Eating for function and not for, like, who does that?
And that's one of the reasons we're in the pandemic we're in now.
Okay.
But it's not to say you shouldn't enjoy your food.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's just think of that function first. And then make sure you're eating things that's going to, again, help stabilize the blood sugar. Eat things high in volume that can help keep you full. Again, making sure you're getting enough water, making sure you're eating enough veg is one thing you can eat high amounts of and not worry about anything. So I think you're on the right track where you were trying to do something, but think not eat less. Think, how can I eat right to give my body what it needs?
Those nutrients dense food. And you mentioned something really important, and that's thirst, because sometimes the brain perceives thirst for hunger. So just drinking more water does help. Being dehydrated, you may feel like you're hungry, but you actually just need to drink some water.
And that will help. That will help a lot. There's no set amount of water someone should have. It differs from person to person. But I think a nice guide I usually give for most of my clients, aim to try and get 2 to 3 liters of direct water. If you're eating your whole foods, you're going to get water through those as well. But trying to get 2 to 3 liters of direct water is going to be beneficial.
And then there's the whole story about adding some electrolytes or some salt in your water so your body kind of holds on to the water a little bit better. That helps, right?
Yep. Especially if you can add electrolytes, or if you're getting electrolytes just through your whole foods, that's going to be beneficial. That's now just really quickly, there's always that confusion when it comes to water and hydration. Water is just part of the factor. It's the electrolytes and the water that really hydrates the body. So there's people that just drink water, but then they can be doing harm because your body has certain water soluble vitamins. If you were just drinking water, you are flushing these things out and you're not replenishing it. My definition of health, which you're going to hear me say over and over, is the process of becoming whole and balance. So make sure you're getting in your water, but you also want to make sure you're getting your electrolytes. I think the first place you should get your electrolytes is food first, but then you can always add in electrolyte powder or whatever else you feel for.
All right, good stuff. Let's move on to the next question. And I like this one because this is something that I've thought about in the past. Is liquid eggs good for us, like the hotel eggs? And I'm going to add another piece to that question. And my angle is it nutritionally similar to whole eggs, the liquid eggs? What are your thoughts?
So when it comes to the hotel one, that's a tougher question to answer because every hotel is different. Like even when we go out, some of the hotel eggs are good, and then sometimes I'm not even going to try that. So it's always hard to say how the hotel preps its eggs. So I kind of just want to keep it to just liquid eggs in general. So the liquid egg in generals are egg whites. Even when you buy the ones that look yellow and they get a little thicker, they're still just egg whites.
I don't trust that though.
Yeah, for it to have that color, to have that texture, they're got to put more stuff in it. Which is, I'm always a minimally processed person. I want as little things added and touched to it as possible. But when you do have the liquid egg whites, it's generally like 99%, even if it's the yellow one, 99% egg product, they'll call it, just means egg whites. Now, egg whites itself is fine. It's a good protein source. But me personally, I always prefer the whole egg. For decades, we're going through this thing where people make you fear fats. They think, no, don't have the yolk, just have the whites. All of the nutrients is in the yolk. All of the healthy benefits are in the yolk. The healthy fats are in the yolk. The nutrient density is in the yolk. And even when you're thinking of pairing them together, your body absorbs it better together versus just the white by itself. So the only real time I would recommend egg whites if you just need a protein boost. So if you had something and I just want a little bit more protein to this particular meal, then by all means use the egg whites. But I'm not a fan of just using egg whites by itself. I want you to have the whole egg, the yolk, and the egg white.
All right. So what I get from what you're saying then is that the box eggs or the liquid eggs are not necessarily as equivalent nutritionally as whole eggs.
No.
So it's not like a equivalent substitute then.
No.
So if that's the case, is it something that you encourage, or we just use it for convenience occasionally?
Personally, I wouldn't recommend it.
And then you have some instances where they have additives in the box eggs.
Well, all of the box eggs would have something added to it just to make it fresher and longer.
Stuff? Okay.
So it would definitely have something added to it. Thinking off the top of my head, the only person I would really think hey, you should get some egg whites, might be a bodybuilder.
Okay.
Because like maybe they had 3 eggs and that was their fat source, but generally 3 whole eggs would give you roughly 18 grams of protein. If I wanted them to get 30, 45, I might say, okay, you can add some egg whites to it or add some chicken to it just to, again, boost that protein. But when you're thinking of nutrient density, egg whites holds nothing to the whole egg.
All right. So your viewers then, let us know if you do egg whites or the box eggs, the liquid eggs. And personally, it tastes a little weird for me, so I don't go for it. But I always wondered if it was safe. And basically what you're saying is not that it's unsafe, but it's not nutritionally equivalent. So
nowhere near.
Only for convenience then.
Yes.
All right. And I guess if we're at the hotel, we don't have much of a choice.
No, I don't think you can ask the cook.
Yeah, right. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. And this is a good one too. Best remedy for bloating.
Best remedy for bloating, I would say you would always want to know what's the cause of bloating. I always try and think of how do I prevent bloating from happening. So certain things that can prevent bloating from happening is thinking of your general gut health. If you're eating certain foods, that's going to bother you, and that differs from person to person. Some people might be dairy, some people might be gluten, some people might be just refined carbs. Foods that's going to inflame the body can then make your stomach feel off, crammy, bloated. So I'd always say that's one of the reasons whenever you're thinking of your gut health, one of the things you always want to focus on, and you're going to, again, hear me say this a lot when you're thinking of health, stabilizing your blood sugars and thinking of low inflammatory foods. That's going to help a lot with your just general gut health. Making sure your stomach is acidic to help break down foods is going to help make sure you're not feeling as bloated as much. And then also just being mindful of your sodium intake. A lot of people get bloated because they're eating foods that are really, really high in salt. They intake that. And then the more sodium your body holds, the more water it generally holds, which can make you feel full, bloated.
Yep.
So to counteract that is why you want to focus again on your electrolytes. One of the most important ones is potassium. It can help regulate the amount of water your body's holding. So if you have enough potassium and you roughly want to try and get 4,700 milligrams of potassium a day, and I know whenever I say that, someone's thinking, well, I had a banana recently. That's not enough. You would have to.
It's not.
No, you would have to eat, depending on the size, about 10 to 12 bananas every day to try and get that much.
The amount of potassium. Is it a possibility for you to eat enough potassium, or you have to take supplements?
You can definitely eat it. If you're focusing again on your whole foods, if you're focusing on your veg, you're going to get that amount of potassium. If you're, so the average amount of veg the person should be aiming for, in my opinion, is 5 to 7 servings. If you're doing that, you're going to get a lot of potassium.
That's wild. When you told me that the first time, I was like, I was nowhere near
the
5
average
to
person
7
gets
servings.
like a cup and a half.
And I know this, and I still have a challenge getting up there.
Yeah, I think it's just, and that's why you want to pair it with just whole foods. Because if you're pairing it, if you're eating your sweet potatoes, if you're eating salmon, if you're eating grass-fed red meat, those have a lot of potassium in there as well, a lot of nutrients. So that's why you're not going to get it just thinking veg. But if you're focusing on just balanced plate whole foods, it's very possible to get close to that number.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that, you're going to notice your body starts shedding water more naturally. Potassium is one of the most important nutrients in the body, in my opinion. One of its many, 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 many benefits is to kind of regulate the sodium water in your body. So it can help push out that water in your body to help make you feel less bloated. So if you're focusing on your whole foods and you're eating less ultra processed foods, which has the MSG, which has the preservatives, which is just high amounts of sodium that your body doesn't register, that's going to help with the bloating. Plus making sure you're getting in your water so your body knows not to try and hold it in. And again, eating things that are gut friendly to you.
Okay. That's a question I get a lot in the pharmacy too, because, everybody suffers from bloating from time to time. And you did mention it, but I want to reiterate that sometimes the causes or the triggers for your bloating, the food that's causing it, but you don't want to stay away from it.
Yeah.
What I find, they'll come to me and they'll try and get something after the fact. So they'll eat the food because they're not going to stop. And then try and get a medication. And of course, there are things that will help with bloating in the pharmacy. Ask any pharmacist, they can help you. But you must monitor the foods that are triggering the bloating and just avoid them.
I agree.
So that helps because nobody wants to be bloated.
That's an uncomfortable
It's
feeling.
a very uncomfortable feeling. And the whole thing about your salt intake, eating too fast, even taking a walk after a meal does help. So those little tips can help. But it's just monitoring the food, knowing the triggers and avoiding them, right?
I agree.
All right.
You're so smart.
I know. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next one. And I do not like this question.
Okay.
This one is coffee okay?
Oh, we might have our first argument.
Oh, we're going to have our argument on this one. Okay, so my name is Melissa and I'm a coffee addict. I don't know if I'm going to give a very unbiased answer to this one.
I would love to hear your answer, though.
To be honest, if I heard definitively that coffee is not good for you, I would stop. But I've done my research and no one can tell me for sure that coffee is not good. And until then, I will still drink my coffee.
So who would have to tell you? Just so I know.
I don't know. The people, the smart people.
Who's the people?
The smart people who does the studies. They need to tell me. And it's a conflict. Like I hear pros and cons. And the good thing so far is that coffee is an antioxidant. So I get my antioxidants in. So that's good. And it's natural. It's from God-made coffee.
God-made coffee.
It's not processed. It's a plant. But here's where I think the problem comes in. It's the things that we add to our coffee. You know, like some of the sweetener, the sugar, the condensed milk, if people still use that, the creamers with all the extra ingredients. I think that's what makes the coffee bad.
Okay.
Even though nobody likes black coffee, or I don't like black coffee. But, and I guess having too much of it too can cause an issue. But so far, there's no strong argument against coffee for me. I haven't seen it. So I don't know if
strong enough?
It's not strong enough for me. So I don't know. What's your take on it?
So let's
take it listen with a grain of salt, because this man doesn't even like the smell of coffee.
Wow.
So, okay, go ahead.
So, coffee can be bad for your teeth. That is scientific fact.
Well,
that is scientific.
You can do things to prevent that.
But it is
bad
for your teeth. And what did we just talk about staying away from certain things? What did you say again?
I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember now. Don't worry. We'll roll the tape back.
But I want to reiterate that sometimes you know the causes or the triggers for your bloating. You know the food that's causing it. But you don't want to stay away from it. Okay?
Coffee can also be bad for your relationship when that person's got to smell it all the time.
We're still here.
We are still here.
Can't be that bad.
That's how strong I love you. Okay, that is how much I love you.
God.
But I'm gonna take, because my credibility and my honesty means so much, I'm gonna take my biases out.
Okay.
Coffee itself does have, jeez.
Say it. Say it.
Coffee itself does have benefits.
Okay, we're getting there.
Now, you mentioned it being an antioxidant, which you can get from other places, but that is one. There have been studies to show, and this is as part of a healthy lifestyle, not just coffee itself. It can help with insulin resistance, making you a little bit more insulin sensitive.
That's a good thing,
I guess. It is beneficial before a workout even to have a certain amount of caffeine in your system just to help with your workout. So it does have benefits. You touched on one of the things where it's what we do to it and then the amount. So you adding a bunch of stuff to it is like, you had a salad, but then you just start throwing all these dressings and other things to it. You then can make it more deleterious to your health. The other thing would be if you're reliant on it. Now, if you cannot function without coffee, and generally what would happen is you'll have that cup and you're like, man, I have the energy and I can do my stuff, whatever it is. And then you notice you go from 1 cup to 3 to 5. That overstimulation to your adrenals, you just become more desensitized to it and you need more of it. That can have a negative ramification to your health. So for me, and if I'm just being honest, Coffee itself isn't the problem, but I don't think you should be reliant on it. I'm going to kind of even broaden it and just think caffeine, where you like every 6 months, there's a new caffeine powered drink that I see people drinking in the gym and like, oh yeah, I feel it. But then what happens after? They crash. We want stable energy. So one of the signs of a healthy body is that you can provide energy. Your energy is stable. You can maintain a good distance without needing anything because you're using your food for fuel or you're using your body fat for fuel. So if you're in this situation where you need coffee, because again, you're just relying on the caffeine, you're trying to make up for lack of sleep with coffee. That can be the problem. So if you enjoy a cup of coffee, I think that's perfectly fine, but don't think you need it, or don't be in the place where you have to need it. That's showing you that there's some deficit in your life that you need to fix, and not being reliant on that coffee or that caffeine or that, pre-workout or whatever it is that people are taking until the next 6 months and the new thing comes out. You don't want to rely on that for fuel. You want your body to give you that energy, that food to give you the energy. And then, yes, enjoy
we can have a coffee. All right, that's fair.
So I want to just ask the audience, how much cups of coffee do you drink?
Yeah, I just drink once. I don't think it's too bad. And I'm trying not to do it every day. So
yeah, you've been good recently.
I'm trying.
Better. Let me not say good. You've been better.
Okay. Let's move on so that we can keep this relationship. All right. So the next question is why don't you track our personal best? So this is your PT, and this person sounds a bit bitter. Why aren't you tracking their personal best, Hafid?
So for anyone that doesn't train with me and understand that question, my lifestyle clients, I have an app that I use and we track their maxes.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I do with every client, new personal training client, is that we have a conversation so we understand both of our relationships. And I'll tell them up front, as your personal trainer, what my responsibilities are is, one, keep you in a safe place, teach you how to train, and then push you and challenge you. With my lifestyle clients, it takes it to the next level where if you're coming to me for weight loss, I'm now responsible to help you lose weight. And part of that health journey is you constantly getting stronger. I can't think of any client that's not with me that hasn't improved in strength. I have clients that come with me that want to improve strength, but maybe they're not in the financial place, or whatever reason, they're not a lifestyle client. I'll simply have them track their own maxes. I'll get them warm up, see where they'll start, and they will progress. Now, where the problem can come is through effective training alone. Even if you had a subpar diet, you can constantly get stronger, just that stimulation of the muscle. But that can only go so far before you plateau. And if I'm not in charge of your sleep, supplements, eating, other stresses, all those other things that can continue that process so we don't plateau, it's harder for me to take responsibility for that.
Right.
So that's really just where it comes down to. Funny enough, like my lifestyle service stuff, I used to do for free for everybody.
Good days.
The good days. I did change it, and this is random, but I kind of even want to be just grateful for you. If it was up to me, I would just give people free stuff all the time because I generally do like to help people.
I don't think I like where this is going.
But you help me with that business mind.
Okay.
Even when I don't like.
Don't let your clients come for me.
They're going to come for you. Even if I don't like what you say business-wise, I know is what's best.
But they're going to be like, oh, she's the reason why.
She's the reason. So when I increase my prices,
my God.
That was because I talked to you about it.
Okay, let's put it in context.
Oh, go on.
Okay, you're putting me on the spot, but okay. I was just merely saying you provide quality product and a lot of your time, so you should be compensated fairly.
And I agree. Right? I totally agree. But I mean this genuinely. Before we got together, I knew I needed a person that had compassion, was business minded, and understood me. Had compassion so they understand how I think, how I am with my clients. Still business minded, and they'll tell me those things because even when you said it, I honestly was like, it's gross, but I know that's what I needed. Okay. So that's just another reason why we work. Another reason why I'm thankful for you, because you do help me. Even if, someone's in a pickle financially, I would talk to you about it, and you'd be like, you know what, you can give this person free for life, but do this for a certain duration and then retalk it. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate
for telling me things I don't want to hear, but I know I need.
Anyway. All right. So guess what? We did go through all the PT questions.
Oh, that's great.
Do we have time to go through the social media questions? Because there's some good ones here.
Let's see how much we can get to. We've been going for about 30 minutes. I wanted to pull it off there, but let's try and get through some.
All right, let's go. The first one is a very quick and easy one, I think. And it's, I'm building muscle in my legs, but there's still a lot of fat. Mm-hmm. Is it just diet that gets the fat to go? That's how they wrote it.
So I would say congratulations for building muscle. Mm-hmm. I think that's always a great and hard achievement most people can't do for a long term. Now, if it sounds like you're trying to just do the weight loss component. Diet is a large part, but also just, you're really just trying to think, how can I burn more than I'm putting in? I always like to think of the health stuff first. So make sure blood sugar, inflammation, hormones are in a good place. And then at that point, it's calories in versus calories out. So if you notice you're building muscle, that's great. If you're trying to lose weight, you can rather look at your eating. Hopefully you're thinking health, holistic health, and rather try and find a healthy way to reduce your calories or just increase your physical output. What I always tell my clients is I want you to be able to lose weight just through the food, but maybe within a month, you just lose 1 pound simply by focusing on your food. And then it's the training and the cardio that can help accelerate those results. So yes, make sure your diet's in a good place first. Mm-hmm. And then you can always make adjustments depending on however you're eating. Mm-hmm. Or just try and burn more calories, increase your physical output. But yes, I personally would think diet first, then physical output.
And clearly this person is on a good track. So they should just remain consistent, mm-hmm. trust the process, clean up their diet. Yeah. And that should be good, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So we have 2 really good questions. We have more than 2, but 2 that I really wanted us to get at. Okay. This first one is, do any of your clients do intermittent fasting? And that's just a question. Do any of your clients do it? And my part is, what's your thoughts on intermittent fasting? I have my thoughts, mm-hmm. but I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
So
first, do you have any clients that practice intermittent fasting?
I'm going to answer that. I'm going to answer the question, but I don't like labels. So I don't have any of my clients say, hey, we're doing intermittent fasting. Okay. Because as soon as people hear certain trigger words, they want to put themselves in this box. And I've seen people who's like, oh, I'm so hungry, but I'm intermittent fasting, but I can't eat for another 3 hours. And they go through all of this stuff. It's like they're forcing themselves to live in this box. All of my clients fast. I don't even say the word fast. Again, we mentioned it before. Mm-hmm. An important part of my program is controlling your hunger. If I'm doing things that hormonally, nutritionally, blood sugar, all this stuff is controlling your hunger, and you're just eating when you eat, you're naturally going to start eating less. On average, most of my clients, without forcing anything, they will just eat 2 or 3 meals. Mm-hmm. If you're eating 2 or 3 meals, at some point, you have to be going through a long span mm-hmm. where you're not eating, where you're fasting, where you're getting those benefits. Again, it's just for me, I don't like to call names on things. Okay. It's because we're just thinking, how do I make this a lifestyle? Not how do I do intermittent fasting? Okay. So I do believe in intermittent fasting, but I just want to do it a natural way. The benefits, they're still finding new benefits for it. But when you're thinking of what hormone it produces when you're fasting, which is your GH hormone, mm-hmm. which is what's called your anti-aging hormone. It's a hormone that's really responsible for building muscle, losing weight, repairing your body. Mm-hmm. We talked before even about people feeling bloated and gut health. One of the major issues when you're thinking of people's gut health is they're constantly eating, and then is what they're constantly eating. So they're always eating these inflammatory or foods that are spiking their blood sugars, and it's just damaging the gut, and they don't give their stomach time to recover. Mm-hmm. By fasting, you're giving your stomach time to recover, to repair, and you're letting those hormones raise up that can actually help with that repair. So I don't call it intermittent fasting. I don't even say fasting, but the principles, the benefits of fasting, I believe in.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm a big fan of it. And even though you say you don't put labels on it, I think for you to truly say that you're doing intermittent fasting, you have to put some parameters where you probably encourage your clients, not you, but I mean, if they're going to practice intermittent fasting, that you don't put that label on. You kind of encourage them to eat within a smaller window so their body's actually resting from eating for a longer period of time to be a true practitioner of intermittent fasting and giving your body that longer time to rest and do the repairs. Because I don't think, I mean, naturally you fast when you sleep because that's the time that your body goes on a repair. And if you're not sleeping, getting adequate sleep, then you do lose all the benefits that you get from that. But with intermittent fasting, if you've closed the window a bit and allow your body to get the insulin levels down and the GH or hormones to go up and all the other great hormones that goes up when insulin goes down, then you do get an opportunity to put your body in fat burning state or, you know, having the benefits of GH, the mental awareness, what's they call it? Autophagy?
Autophagy.
When your body goes in cell repair and whatever. So I think even though you don't put a label on it, if people kind of close the window, not even changing their diet. I mean, eating healthy, nutrient dense food, but eating at a closer period so that your body is resting from eating for a longer time. It does have great health benefits, I find, personally.
I think so with me.
But it may not be for everyone, but it's not something that I'm against. And I think it do especially in the diabetes space, I've seen where it has improved people's diabetes outcome tremendously, which is why I'm such a big fan.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the reasons I don't like to put labels on things in general is you can still do something, but still do it unhealthy. Like I've seen people where it's like, yeah, I do intermittent fasting. And in their minds, they can eat anything within that window.
So I do, yeah.
So I think whatever you do, if you're going into it thinking health first, and then whatever thing works for you, because you have different types of intermittent fasting. You have people that eat one meal a day. So it's always going to be your lifestyle, what works best for you. Once you're going into it thinking health first. And, you know, that's why with my clients, I don't care what we do. Once we stick by our definition, our definition is being whole and balanced. I don't care how many times you eat. Are we whole and balanced? So for me personally, that's why I go through it that way. But if you're someone that wants to try the more standard way where there's certain set hours and stuff like that, that's perfectly fine. I would just always recommend think health first. Yeah,
it's something that we can probably discuss further because there's just so much you can say about it. Do we have time for one more question?
Let's go last one for today.
Okay, last one. What are your thoughts on GLP-1 meds?
I like this question simply because we have a pharmacist here.
Oh,
hi. Okay. So I actually want you to start off with this one.
All right. So GLP-1 meds, it has so many names. The full name is GLP-1 receptor agonist.
Say that again.
Okay. They're like the new kids on the block, but they're not that new because they've been around for about 20 years. So we have a lot of data on these drugs, but the celebrities are now using it for weight loss. And I think that's what your writer is asking us about it for. But short version, I don't have negative thoughts about this drug. It's mostly positive. But there are nuances. In the diabetes space, it has been such a game changer. Excellent drug. It regulates your blood sugar. It provides a lot of cardiovascular benefits. So you have heart protection, kidney protection, stroke, brain protection. It also, there's so many studies in the pipeline now. Benefits on Alzheimer's, sleep apnea, liver, whole bunch of stuff. So it's a wonderful drug. It's doing great things. And it's really allowing doctors to now prescribe a drug that gives better outcomes and not just control like one single parameter. So now this person has pre-diabetes or diabetes uncontrolled. They get this drug and it's also preventing them from getting a heart attack and a stroke. So it's great, great in that space. For weight loss, I'm a little iffy. It is good that it does control your weight. And that's also great because you do have people with diabetes, and I mean type 2 diabetes, who are overweight. And having extra weight or being obese does affect their control of their diabetes. So that is a problem. So the fact that it does help with weight control, it's beautiful. But for people who are taking it to lose 5-10 pounds, I don't agree with that. Because if it's just primarily for weight loss, weight loss is so complex and there's so many reasons why people are putting weight on. It could be emotional, stress, financial reasons, lifestyle practices. And for you to actually make a sustainable change in that area, you have to address what the issues are, whether it's how you're eating or your workload or whatever it is. You have to address that for it to be sustainable. What this drug is now doing is eliminating all that, and you're getting the snap weight loss without addressing any of the issues. So the problem is when you come off the drug, what's going to happen?
Comes right back.
It's going to come flooding back because you didn't address the issues. So it's not going to be sustainable. And what makes it worse, based on some of the studies, is that when you do take this drug, you shrink the fat cells, but you also multiply the fat cells. So if you think of fat cells being like sacks, you take the drug, it shrinks the sacks. You had 3 sacks, it shrinks it, you have 3 small sacks, but it also makes multiple sacks. So now you have 10 sacks. They're smaller, but now you have 10. When you stop taking this drug, you now have 10 sacks that are easily filled because you didn't address the reasons. So
the root problem that caused it.
So you're coming back, you're eating, the cravings are back in full swing because it does significantly reduce the cravings. It works on the brain. It makes you feel fuller. It does all of those things. And no, you don't have any of those controls. And everything comes flooding back. And most times people end up putting on more weight than they took off in the first place. So that's where I have the problem, because weight loss, you have to address the reasons for the weight loss. It's not easy, but it's possible. And having that discipline or developing that discipline makes it sustainable and keeps the weight off. And this drug doesn't allow you to build those, that strong character or whatever it is that you needed to get the weight off. So I do have a problem with that. And I do think people need to be careful, because unless you're going to be on it for life, what's going to happen when you come off it? And additionally, this drug sometimes have you not only losing fat, but you do end up losing a bit of muscle, which is really hard to put on. Muscle, bone mass. So if you're older, you have to think about those things. And of course, with every drug, there's a side effect. So if you're just taking it to lose 5-10 pounds off, you're going to expose yourself to some of the side effects. And because this drug works on the brain, you'll have side effects of anxiety that's happening now, depression, nausea, vomiting, a whole bunch of stuff that you are exposing yourself to. So even though it's a wonderful drug, it's a game changer, I think it's always important to make lifestyle changes. They may be small, but at least, you've developed the discipline and you'll keep the weight off. So that's how I feel. So it's not that I have a negative feeling towards this drug, but when it comes to weight loss, there's just way more to it. And I think it should be adjunct to everything else that you're doing. And people should also consider doing some resistance training while they're on the drug to kind of maintain the muscle mass, because that is also a serious problem. So that's my thought, the long version of what I think about it.
And I think that's a great answer. So I'll say, before I even go into mine, I'm really glad you were here for this question. I've talked about this before. I don't like when people talk on things they're not experts in. I don't study meds. I read an hour every day. None of that deals with medication. So anything I'm about to say is just based on my opinion, maybe some experience, people talking to stuff, but I don't study medicine. So again, thank you for being here to answer that particular question for sure. Now, with my answer, I don't have a problem with the drug. My problem is looking at how people use the drug a lot of times. Some of the ones you mentioned, just thinking I just got to lose a few pounds. At some point in time, we're going to be at a place where we can take one med that's going to cure everything and we don't have to worry about it. We're not there yet. And one of my big issues is, we're taking something that deals with this, but because we're not thinking health holistically, there's so many different factors. Even you mentioned this particular one, because some of them are just when you take something for cholesterol, it's usually just dealing with cholesterol, not the thing causing the cholesterol, not all the other ramifications, just that one particular thing. You mentioned a few things those drugs kind of deal with, which that's great. But like, even if you're thinking of, okay, we're dealing with these symptoms, but are we still giving the body what it needs to fight off other things? You look at, just for an example, the rise of cancer. Even though we're putting all of this money into cancer research, diagnosing it, treating it, what about prevention? I think the last study I saw was about roughly 80% of the world population is vitamin D3 deficient. And they'll notice a correlation with low levels of vitamin D and increased cancer. If you're thinking of not getting in enough potassium, how are you making sure you're regulating other things that your body needs? So I always look at when people's like, okay, I'm managing my symptoms because I'm taking this one particular thing. But if you're not thinking health holistically, there's so many other factors that you're not taking care of. And I even remember someone was having metformin, was this particular drug. And they're like, I can have this pizza, and they'll just take the metformin because they're thinking, well, I'm taking this thing so I can eat whatever I want. Sometimes some of these medications, especially when you first take them, can help prevent it. But if you're not dealing with that problem, if you're not thinking you have to change your lifestyle, it could just be a Band-Aid where, okay, because what medication should be for, and what I always think where I love medication, is there to help extend your life. But in my mind, I would want you to extend it to look for, okay, this gives us more time to deal with the problem, not to ignore the problem. Because you can take a drug for a while, but then if it stops doing what it's want to do because you keep pushing it, that drugs probably might stop working. Again, I can't say for that one in particular, but especially some of the other drugs I've seen, if you don't think you're going to change your lifestyle, you might delay some of the problems, but those problems are going to keep coming. Eventually, the floods are just going to open up. So if you are taking this, I would say if you're taking this for the symptoms to try and prevent certain lifestyle illnesses, look to see what the root problem is. The healthier you are, the better the drug's going to work. And hopefully you can come off of the drug. If you're taking it for weight loss, as you mentioned, still look at the lifestyle, because you don't want to be anchored down with medicine for the rest of your life. You would still want to make sure you're working on your diet. You're doing the training, the cardio, and all those other things. So I have no problem with the drug itself. I would just be mindful how people use it and their mindset going into it.
Awesome. All right. So
that'll be it.
Out of time.
Yes, that'll be it for today. We went a little over time, but I want to again thank you, Melissa, for coming in and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This will be up on Saturday, and it will probably be up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify by Friday. So if you guys want to take a listen to it, I want to again thank Rust and Irie Studio for having us on and having us in this amazing studio. And until next time. Oh, wait.
You got more?
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
Yes.
And if you love the chemistry between me and this amazing woman, we have our own YouTube channel.
Talk about my contract. I need to get paid.
We have our own YouTube channel we started at Mal and Half, where that's just more about our relationship, our travels, our eating journey, and stuff like that.
Because we do like to eat.
We do like to eat. So by all means, go on and follow us on there. And anything you want to say before we close out? No, I'm good.
Okay, so I just want to say again that this was really good. I was a bit nervous, but I'm happy I did it. And thank you for encouraging me to do it.
I am here to encourage you. And until next time, you guys, be happy, be healthy. Oh, hey, you guys are still here. Thanks for staying to the end of the video. Please watch some of the other videos on the page and subscribe.